So I'm a little behind on my unboxings, and I just recently got the lizard. So I decided let's have a Marvelous unboxing. Let's start with Marvel's Squadron Supreme Power Princess. She's part of the Void Build-A-Figure wave, and she comes with the two legs. You also see the figure, her weapons, alternate hands. Here is the side, the art of Power Princess. Another different, well, the same picture, but you see more of her. Here's the figures that come in this wave. I do have Crystar, and now I have Power Princess. I did not, and I do not plan on finishing the wave. There's the Build-A-Figure. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to finish this wave. I just wanted these two. Here's the other side with the same art from the other side. Here's the top where it says Marvel. Bottom with all the legalese and the barcode. But yeah, let's check her out. Here's Power Princess out of the package. Pretty much, again, you see everything she comes with, which isn't a lot. It would have been nice if they gave her two fists, but they didn't. I know it's a Build-A-Figure wave, but still, it's sometimes weird when they, just give her one fist instead of two, or one open hand instead of two. But, what are you going to do? Also, this is the reissued version. Here's a closer look at Power Princess. Some nice detailing in the face. Her headdress, little choker on the neck, somewhat windswept hair. A lot of nice detailing there. Basically, her costume or outfit is pretty much plain, but the black and gold, is nice. A little bit of detailing in the gauntlets. You see some of the red jewel there and also there. This is what her legs look like, and this is the back. So let's check out our articulation. The head is basically on a dumbbell joint. Because of her hair, the articulation is going to be somewhat hindered, but she can definitely look left and right. Not a whole lot up, again, because of the hair, but she can look down pretty well. And then she does have some tilt, but some nice head articulation. The arms will go all the way around, and so her arms should come up to about a T, like I said. Little hesitant when doing that because it feels like if you put too much pressure, you'll put a lot of stress on the joints. But just, be aware of that if you pick her up. She does have bicep swivel and double elbow joint. Her arm will come up most of the way. Her hand will twist, and with this hand it does go in and out. Her body will come back about this much, just a little forward, not a whole lot. It will twist, and there's some tilt. Again, this is a somewhat older figure. It doesn't have the waist swivel or the ab crunch here like some of the newer figures do. The leg will come forward, about this much, out pretty much all the way, and very little back. There is a double knee that will come up, about there, and there is a swivel at the thigh, or thigh cut. There is also a cut here at the boot, so it will twist. The foot comes back about this much and comes up about, there. and her foot can pivot in and out. So by default, she does come with 2 open hands or gripping hands. And here she's holding her sword, and with the shield, the sword in her right hand is, I know it's kind of loose. I don't know if it'll be loose in the other hand. And here's Power Princess with her other 2 hands, the open palm and her fist. And just for kicks, I did decide to swap the shield and sword with the other hands. And I will admit I was wrong. These hands do have the up and down movement instead of the in and out. But the sword is definitely better in this hand than it was in the other hand. So I have no idea what happened to my audio with this clip. So I'm just going to have to do a voiceover. But next up is Red She-Hulk. Here you see in the window pretty much with everything she comes with. Why does she come with size? I really don't know. Maybe she's a big fan of Raphael from TMNT. I mean, it kind of makes sense since she's all red. But here on the side you have one picture of her. Here's another picture, a closer look at a little bit of her bio. And then some of the legalese. Here you have side window, Red She-Hulk, a different picture, and the Hulk logo. And then under here, more legalese and barcode. But yeah, let's check her out. Here's Red She-Hulk out of the package. So taking a closer look at her, I think from her feet to the ab section is just reuse of Green She-Hulk. She has basically the same ripped in the pants. The arms might be the same, but I don't think so because the arms are pinless, and as you can see in the legs, you can see the pins there. So that's a new sculpt. The upper body here's definitely a new sculpt, and so is the head. The head looks pretty awesome. Definitely a full head of hair. One thing I hope Hasbro learns from a different brand is to make their hair more rubbery and flexible to get out of the way, because with all this, she's not going to be looking up, at all. By default, you see that she comes with just a stoic looking face with 2 open grippy type hands. Here's her more angry face, gritting teeth, and her 2 fists. And here she is with her holding hands and the 2 sides. Let's take a look at her articulation. The head is on a ball and hinge, and it'll be easier to do the articulation with this head than the other. The arm will go all the way around. This one will be a little hindered because of the hair, but it'll just move the hair out of the way so it can go all the way around. She does have bicep swivel, no butterfly joints. Most of the females, the figures don't have the butterfly joint. The double elbow will come up about this much, and again, the bicep swivel. The arms will also come up to about 90. Just about. It's like almost not quite. And yeah, she can get them all the way out to 90. Older body, so she can twist. She can go side to side. She can go back a little bit, and then not a whole lot forward. With the head, she can look up very little, and she should be able to look down pretty well. So yeah, she looks down very well. The legs can go out, basically to 90. She can almost have a full split and not a whole lot back. There is a thigh swivel, which is cut, very nicely. Now, there is, the double knee comes up to about there. The foot can go pretty much all the way back. Really good forward. And it can pivot both sides. Next up, we have Marvel's Warbird, or Carol Danvers. I've always referred to her as Ms. Marvel, but I guess she didn't go by that in this outfit. It was a different outfit she was wearing at the time. Marvel celebrating 85 years. Warning, choking hazards. Don't put the figure in your mouth. Here's a side with a picture of Warbird. Again, Marvel celebrating 85 years. Here's the back with pretty much a zoomed out image of Marvel's Warbird. Some of the legalese. On the bottom, more legalese, barcode. No real bio on this one. Here we see part of the window, Marvel Legends, Marvel celebrating 85 years. There's the top, again, Marvel and everything that's written there. But let's get her out of the box. Here's Warbird out of the package. Again, you can clearly see everything she comes with. With the figure, her alternate head, alternate hands, and her power effects. So overall, the figure looks nice. Not really shiny. Pretty much nice and matte, at least on the skin tones. Some parts of the black is a little bit shiny, and then the lightning bolt has a metallic paint on it, so that will definitely reflect some light. But overall, it's nice that she's not, bright and shiny all over. The face sculpt looks very nice, painted on. The hair looks awesome, definitely windswept. But with the hair in the back, that's definitely going to get into a little bit of a hindrance in articulation for when Carol tries to look up. But, the details are nice. The little red sash is a little bit of a pain because it floats all over, and it's just a solid piece of plastic. There's a little bit of give. Would have been cool, in my opinion, if this was more of a soft goods and there's a little wire here so you can, pose it instead of just having it the way it is. Her head is on a ball hinge. Although she won't be looking up much, because both head sculpts, the hair here is going to get in the way of that articulation. So there's not really any up, but she can definitely look down all the way. So if she wants to look down at you, she can easily do that. Her head will twist side to side. There's really not any tilt. The arms will come up, about 90, maybe just a little bit past 90. What is nice is Carol definitely has a butterfly joint, so you can definitely, if you wanted, or have her cross her arms, using her powers, or if she's getting ready to wail on somebody, they can come back pretty well, far, which is nice. So hopefully Hasbro will implement the butterfly joints on more female characters. Her arm will go all the way around, no problem. Even this side, even with the hair, it'll just get out of the way. So the arm will bend, basically come up about all the way. There is a bicep swivel, and the hands will twist and will go in and out. Another cool thing about this figure is not only does she have, being able to twist side to side, and she can bend back pretty good and move forward the top part a little bit, but here she does have a cut around the midsection, so she can crunch forward pretty good and bends back really well, but there's no twist at the waist. That's just mostly the upper body. I'm not exactly sure. You might want to be careful with moving. There might be a little paint rub off there and here, but I guess that's to be expected. But what's nice is when you're bending her back, the lightning bolt here, keeps going. It doesn't really break unless you're twisting her body. Her legs will come up about here, comes out about this much, not quite a full split, a little bit back, and a double knee that comes up. Whoop, almost dropped her, but comes up to about there. She does have a lower thigh swivel, which is nice. It's nicely hidden here, so it doesn't, if they did it higher, it would probably interfere with the top part of her boot at the point. So it's nice that they did it lower. So her foot will come down pretty much almost all the way, comes up, pretty good, and it also can rock side to side. So by default, she has her stoic look with the windswept hair and her two fists. And here she is with her power effects. And here's Carol with her other head. A little bit of teeth showing. And her open hands. Again, here's Carol with her power effects on these hands. Last but certainly not least is the lizard character that you see normally with Spider-Man, kind of one of his rogues gallery. Again, Marvel Legends, warning, choking hazard, don't put his long tail into your mouth. Here's the side where you see the art of Spider-Man and the lizard, Marvel Legends. Here's the back, again, same picture, just zoomed out. Here's a little bit about the lizard, also known as Dr. Kurt Connors. Marvel Legends, the lizard, all the legalese. This side, again, the lizard, a little window that you see one of the heads here. Another picture of the same, that was on the other side. Here's the top with the Spider-Man logo, and then the bottom, more legalese and the barcode. But yeah, let's get them open. Here we have the lizard out of the package. Originally, he was a Build-A-Figure. I believe I actually have that wave, but they're all still in package. The only difference is that it did come with this head, and I think this look is more from when Todd McFarlane was doing Spider-Man. I distinctly remember that's what his lizard looked like. So that's pretty cool. Here's his tail. Another thing that they could have done if they wanted to, you see this one has hinges and they do swivel. My opinion, it would have been cool if it was more of a wired tail that you could pose it in different ways, but I mean, this still works and it'll do the job. Let's check out his articulation. The neck is on a ball joint, so the neck can move around. His head can look up a little bit and it can look down some and then a little bit more with the help of the neck. Again, the jaw can move. The arm will go all the way around and comes up. Well, like I said, it was a Build-A-Figure. Let me get this back in. The arms do come up almost basically to a T-pose. If you try too much more, like you saw, the shoulder will pop out. There is a bicep swivel and a double elbow joint that comes up to about there, and only one set of hands that can rotate, and as you can see, it can go in and out, but that one popped off pretty easy. But luckily, since he's a lizard, it will regenerate. See, just like new, but again, it can go in and out. The body can swivel some. The jacket, it is a little bit flexible. It's not too hard, but the body can twist. Because of the jacket, even though it's somewhat pliable, there's not really a whole lot of back, but there is a lot of forward crunch. I mentioned it earlier, the knees cannot extend and they don't really bend that much. There's a thigh swivel. There is a joint here. I don't know if you want to call it the ankle. Went down all the way, comes up about this much, and if the one leg will stop moving, the foot will pivot side to side, and there is a toe hinge, so the toe can come up pretty much all the way. What about down? It'll come down a little bit. So here we have the tail already in. The tail can move a little bit, not a whole lot, side to side, up and down. Here there is that hinge, so the tail can bend and rotate. So this will go up and down. This section of the tail goes side to side with the hinge and can rotate. So switching out heads, you see that they're attached by more of a peg instead of a ball joint. And here we have the McFarlane head. Looks pretty cool. I like this head. I might be using it to display, but you can see the jaw is somewhat flexible. It's just not really articulated. Would have been nice if it was. But yeah, I think this face looks pretty cool. It's more than, just a mother could love. Well, a thunderstorm has decided to roll in. I don't know if you guys hear the thunder or not. So I'm going to try and at least get part of this section in just in case I lose some power. But yeah, here are all four of the figures on this little turntable. These are all, overall pretty awesome. Again, definitely happy that I was able to pick up Warbird on the re-release. She went so fast, and she was also a Target exclusive. Power Princess, I was going to pass on her. I did, kind of regretted it. And then when Hasbro decided to reissue her, I made sure that I pre-ordered her, and happy that I picked her up. And then there's Red She-Hulk. There's not a whole lot of figures to fight the regular She-Hulk, so I thought she would be a nice addition, and even have her kind of scrap with regular Hulk. And then there's the Lizard. Overall, he's pretty cool. Again, he's just a re-release, and Hasbro is known for doing that, and there's nothing wrong with it. Because there's always new collectors, and when they're needing or wanting certain figures that aren't available, instead of paying a huge amount for figures that they probably don't want just to build the Lizard, or pay a lot at some kind of collectible store, even a convention, and have to kind of pay up for it. It's cool. I totally get it. I bought it, and definitely worth the price that I got. I just wish he had a couple extra hands, and I already told you about the tail. But overall, I'm kind of happy with this. Each figure kind of has its ups, the pros and cons, but definitely not enough cons for me to pass up on these figures. So I'm happy that I picked them up. If you are planning on getting it, I would highly recommend it. I got all mine from Big Bad Toy Store. I'll put the link in the description. If they're still available or not, I do not know. You'll just have to kind of get on and check for yourself. But for popularity, Warbird and Power Princess most likely are already sold out by the time you're watching this. Red She-Hulk, she might still be easy to get. Not fully sure. And the Lizard was just recently released, so if you want them, you should definitely get them. But yeah, overall, I'm happy with it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Again, if you are planning to pick these up, let me know which figure you like or that you want. And if you check on the see more in the description, you'll see various links to my other social media. I usually post stuff there that I don't normally post on Facebook, on YouTube. I guess the storm just kind of has me a little distracted because, I have noticed the lights flickering a little bit. But yeah, if you want to get a hold of me, you can either leave a comment on the video or check out one of my other links, subscribe there, and it's easier to get a hold of me on any of those, whether it's Instagram, TikTok. You can even find me on Facebook. But I believe that's going to do it for this video. Simo says, collect what you like. Be awesome to one another. Till the next video, I'll see you later.